Let me say very quickly that this is my very first appearance inside the belly of these chambers. I have not had the privilege nor the honor of appearing in these chambers ever before, even in my over 20 years in Parliament. I have always strived to be a member of this, but I've always failed. So I believe this is a gathering, like they say, many are called, but very few are chosen. And so it is a gathering of the elites, the ones that make the decisions for us in Africa. I bow to you. I acknowledge you. I thank you for your service for the continent and for the sub-region. I believe that the whole idea of this parliament, which is over several decades old, was to enhance cooperation and integration in the sub-region and to deal as best as we can with the uniform or the issues that transcend or cut across the sub-region. And there are several of them. Security, as evident by the coups, the recent coups that have taken place in the sub-region, the economy, our debt profile, which continues to climb and become an increasing burden on our various countries and therefore our continent and our sub-region. And of course, recently the issue of COVID, which has in several ways affected the economy of each of our countries and the sub-region. We believe that several heads are better than one. And because these challenges cut across and are similar across sub-regions, it is this parliament, as far as the sub-region is concerned, that can produce or develop the panacea, at least the legislative framework, one way or the other, to deal with these problems. I believe that when we speak with one voice, as a sub-region and as a continent, we achieve more results. To this extent, I, along with several, and my Senegalese counterpart who's sitting right next to me, and several other speakers of African parliaments, have come together to set up what I'm sure many of you are aware, what we call COSAP, the Conference of Speakers of African Parliaments, which goes beyond the sub-region to address again the same problems that I've enumerated. And I believe that collaboration amongst us will achieve results. Africa and West Africa have come of age. How do we dot the I's? How do we cross the T's that will take us to where we believe that we should be? And this is exactly how we do it. The awesomeness of these chambers and the people that I see around me, to my left, to my right, the serenity here and the level of discussions that I read and I hear and is reported to me whenever you meet is honestly something I believe that we should tap into and not take this sitting as just a mere formality or routine sitting, but as a sitting that will always produce results, that will always come out with the necessary legislative impact and input to assist our individual countries and to assist us collectively as a continent. The role of parliamentarians, has been retold over and over and over again. I find that a lot of, and this is common to most African parliaments, I find that we underestimate our role in terms of governance and in terms of development in our various countries. Perhaps many of us are not aware that perhaps the most important arm of government in any democracy is actually the legislature. Many of us have been made to believe and understand that the most important arm, or the only arm is the executive. But no, this has been tested even in advanced democracies, that the most important arm of any democracy is the legislature. There is a case called Marbury and Madison in the United States, and I will encourage that you Google it, where this Locus Classicus case was tried and tested, that the legislature, the legislative arm of government, is perhaps the most enduring, the most impactful, and the most important. And we need to understand and recognize that. When you recognize and you understand your worth and your role, that is when you begin to make the kind of impact that is required even by the framers of our Constitution, whether written or unwritten, the role that is required of us. So that is the first thing we need to understand. Now, why are we here? Who are we? What is our role? And this has been debated over and over and over again. And I hope that this august, great body will begin to set the pace for a better understanding of the role of Parliament in any democracy, whether advanced or budding democracy. We in Nigeria started years ago what we call parliamentary diplomacy. And we have used that instrumentality or that channel to resolve issues that even the executive were unable to resolve. Because between parliaments, parliament to parliament, a lot can be achieved. We did it in South Africa during the xenophobia period when Nigerians were being killed. We did it in Ghana. We intervened in Ukraine recently when the leader of the House of Nigeria's House of Representatives flew to that part with the chairman of Foreign Affairs to bring our students home. And we did it with dispatch and with alacrity. And these are the things that you might think we're pushing the envelope in terms of parliamentary role. But sometimes you need to push the envelope and draw the line. Once you recognize your role as the representative of the people, you don't straitjacket yourself into just making laws. Sometimes you go beyond that. Even in the advanced democracies, America has done it severally, where their legislators got involved in some of these things and achieved results. So we need to start thinking outside the box, because ours is a peculiar continent. And we need to start thinking outside the box to understand fully, again, like I said, the role of Parliament in a democracy, whether fledgling or whether advanced. This body is full of different countries with different cultures, but there's still a universal culture of Africanness. And that is that culture of Africanness that I believe and I expect that will imbibe in making decisions here in the ECOWAS Parliament. The people that speak in different languages here, we have had to use translators to understand when somebody is speaking French or when somebody is speaking English. But then again, like I said, there's one universal language, and that is the language of Africa, the language of development of the continent, the language of democracy. These are the things that I think, again, we should hold on to. And I believe because of our integration, and that's what it's all about, cooperation and integration, I believe that by the time we celebrate 50 years of the establishment of the ECOWAS Parliament, I believe everybody here should be able to speak everybody's language. So we need to start learning now. If you're not French speaking, better start learning. If you're not English speaking, better start learning. So that when we're 50 years, we'll speak one common language. If we decide to speak French, we'll speak French. If we decide to speak English, we'll speak English. Then we know that Africa, the sub-region, has come of age. I'm glad to see that this invitation was also extended to the judiciary, which is another arm of government. And I forgot when I was speaking that the judiciary was represented here, and when I said that the legislative arm was the bastion of democracy and the most important arm of government. Perhaps if I had remembered that the judiciary was here, and I'd have tempered my position a little bit. But facts are sacred, and I'm sure August Visitor also knows and believes, and I can see him nodding his head that yes, I am correct, that the legislative arm is perhaps the most important in any. But even with that, we have a symbiotic relationship. Even though we have separation of powers, we have a symbiotic relationship, and we must at all times work together. Nigeria is at that point now where we are facing our transition, or we began our transition into a new term. Our primaries have just been concluded, and we're heading to a general election. And as we go into that, I pray that and you pray along with me, and hope that it will be a free, fair, transparent election. It will be violence-free, and we will be celebrating, I'm sure, hopefully, many of your colleagues that are here with you, that are privileged to serve here with you from Nigeria. I pray that you will find them back here in the next term to continue the good work